This is Michaela McLean, and you're listening to Beauty by Design. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you for being here and Happy New Year. It's officially the Human Design New Year, Gate 41. Before we get into what all the 41st gate entails, let me remind you free charts on my website, michaelamclean.com. These have extended chart properties. So extra things you don't typically get on a free chart. And I want you to have them because you're going to need them for places that we are going to be going in the future. Season 3 is fast approaching. So get on that. Then you have the free human design guide to the basics. You can get your $11 masterclass, 1 hour, or a type strategy, not self-authority, signature, deconditioning tips, everything that you need to really learn the base of your design. And then the yoga nidra from there to bypass the conscious mind and really embed all of that information in your cells and start to live it and get the beauty benefits and the health benefits of yoga nidra at the same time and the healing frequencies, all that cool stuff. And I want to throw out as well, if you would like to receive a episode guide. This is something that I have reserved for very few people, but an episode guide PDF download so that you can easily find the gates if you haven't already discerned. Do not go in chronological order. So to find the correct episode when you are looking for, say, what is my sun gate, or what have you, you want to listen to a specific episode to be able to find it. Well, I do have all that information. And if you would like a free copy of that, I have an easy way for you to get it. Leave this podcast a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, and then email me a screenshot of your published review, energeticaesthetics@icloud.com. Send that on over to me, and I will get you a PDF download of not only the gates as a guide of what episodes they are, but also a keyword list. So go ahead, leave that 5-star rating and review, send me the screenshot, and you will be getting insider information that is just not readily available. And you'll be able to access the podcast very easy and find the information that you want. Like I said, season 3, there's going to be a revamp. So get your hands on that now. Okay. Not before. Let me make my disclaimer like I always do. This information, don't worry about understanding it at the mental level. Let the sound current, the energy, the frequency of beauty sink deep into your cells like good skincare. Like I like to say, Bob Ross is your esthetician. We're just soothing you with the words and the happy little trees. Okay. So let's get into it. Like I said, let's have our little New Year's party. All right. So today the sun moves through Aquarius. We're technically already in Aquarius, and we're moving into Human Design Gate 41, which is located in the root center and part of the collective abstract or sensing circuitry. This is the more yin, feminine, experiential, intuitive, and receptive side of the chart that is focused on reflecting on and making sense of the past. Abstract circuitry is very much about the journey, not the destination. It's not about goals. It's all about the experience and reflecting on it and sharing it with others. And that's the keynote for collective circuitry, is to share. Now, starting with the center itself, the root is both a pressure and a motor center. It pushes us to do and provides the adrenaline to carry out the action. Energy enters the root and moves around the body graph. And in this case, it moves up to the solar plexus, the emotional solar plexus. That's going to be important. Fueling the emotions. So gate 41 is known as decrease. It's the gate of contraction. And this is the pressure to feel, the desire for a new experience. So despite the name, it's about imagination and fantasy. This gate, as I said, it marks the new year in human design. It's actually the start codon of our DNA. It's the beginning, which makes sense because anything ever created in this world started as a spark in someone's imagination. It contains a desire, a drive, that pressure to feel and experience something new. Now, the low expression of gate 41 can be restlessness for new experiences you've dreamt up. It could be ungrounded, living in a fantasy land, constantly daydreaming, but taking no tangible action, like completely disassociated from reality. You could have high expectations about the anticipated experience, which could lead to disappointment if it goes unfulfilled or doesn't play out the way that you hoped and dreamed. It can also be responsible for confusing feelings and a lack of clarity. But the high expression, this is a super dreamy gate, seeing all the potentials and possibilities and envisioning a new future. Getting out of the comfort zone and turning your visions and dreams that are the ones that are worthwhile into reality when the time is right, and enjoying other ones for what they are. Fantasies that are not supposed to come true. They just get to remain in that fantasy land, but you can enjoy them. It's also about getting creative when you have very limited resources. So, again, back to the Qing name decrease, like the gate of contraction. It's starting from scratch, the void, like the contractions that come before birth. This is an extremely creative gate, channeling inspiration into art, which moves people to feel something. This gate always gives me like Alice in Wonderland or Willy Wonka vibes. Those are two of my very, very favorite childhood stories. I love that trippy stuff. Like, all the potential stems from that that fantasy land, that void. You don't even know what's possible until you've kind of accessed the dream state essentially. Okay, so in the gene keys, the shadow of this one is fantasy, the gift is anticipation, and the city is emanation. So the gene keys goes deep into the DNA, the amino acids, etc., which is why I always refer to this and our designs as our energetic DNA. And 41 is the start codon. As I already mentioned, it's the beginning. And at the shadow, it's all daydreams, right? But never bringing anything into the world of form. Basically, 41 is tuned to this energetic field that we're all part of, we're all plugged into, and it's able to download what's coming next. But the dilemma here is the planning piece. You have to let go of the expectations of how things have to look or how they have to manifest in the world. That the picturesque thing that you have in your mind, the dream life, the dream partner, the dream family, et cetera, et cetera. Barbie's dream house, it has to look like this. You have to play it loose. Have a dream, absolutely, but be open, open to what's coming. Basically, trying to manage and essentially have no expectations on how it's going to arrive in form. It's going to come how it's going to come. So he talks about the Fool in the tarot. And for those unfamiliar, the Fool is card 0 of the major arcana, these major mysteries, the major keys of life that are going to unlock the mystery. And the Fool is, if I'm thinking in my mind of the Rider-Waite, the Fool. Okay, so you have this character who is la-di-da, smelling a rose, little pack on his shoulder. And, the background is yellow. It's sunny. It's optimistic, right? And the little dog's yapping at his feet and he's like about to walk off the cliff, but he's clueless, right? That's the whole thing with this, is like just going into it totally like, I have no expectations. I don't know what awaits me, but I am going into this with optimism, right? And side note, that card is Uranus's card, which is Aquarius's ruler. There's a lot of connections. But he really represents the Fool. Well, he represents the Fool. He is the Fool, but he represents like the hero's journey or the fool's journey, like the Fool is the alpha and the omega. When you get to the end of the major arcana to the world, it's about completion. And so you have 0 that begins it, And then also, if you're familiar, I know these cards so well, I'm like, I can see it in my mind. You have the dancer on the world, and it's the figure in the middle of yet another circle, 0, right? And the whole thing comes together, and then the journey begins again, essentially. So it's just like you have to go into things with no expectation. You don't know what awaits on the journey, but you just you enter in. We're going into the void. Um, I wanted to touch on the words that he chose for this. This has been my thing lately. I've decided, I'm like, I really like looking up the dictionary definitions of different things. So the gift of anticipation in the Cambridge Dictionary, right? Anticipation, a feeling of excitement about something that is going to happen in the near future. It's in preparation of something happening. And I love that because anticipation is essentially like you're just getting excited, like a kid. You don't really know what's going to happen. But you're thrilled. You're thrilled at the thought of like something new is coming or something new is coming through you, right? Kind of going back to contractions. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm about to birth something in the world. It's like if you've never been a mom before, you don't know what that's like to, okay, now I have a baby. This is a whole new experience, a whole new journey. And you can't have all of that totally planned out. It's so funny. And it's actually really great to be like, this is exactly the way I want my birth to go. And this is what I'm going to do with my child, and we're going to co-sleep or we're not going to co-sleep or we're going to breastfeed or, like all the things that people do, kind of like, I'm planning this, I'm gripping so tightly instead of basically letting that go. And it's like, all right, we're going into this experience and we're going to see what happens. And, you have a baby. And I mean, I have 2 kids. It's like, you're going to have little people in your lives whose vastly different personalities. I have a generator and a manifester, it's like, I have a boy and a girl. I like, wow, just it's an experience. There's the anticipation, right, of the unknown. You're excited, but you don't know what's coming. And then the city is emanation. And that, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, is the act of producing something or of expressing a quality or feeling, right? Something just emanating from you. And that comes from the Latin word emanare, meaning to flow from or to pour forth out of. And again, I just love that. It's like it's a vibe, right? To emanate. It's so cool. It's the field, right? And the last thing I want to say on the gene keys, right, with this is that a quote from Richard Rudd is that all works of genius emerge from this field. Genius manifests while non-genius dreams. And again, this is about the experience. It's collective abstract to just go into it for the experience, to live it, to reflect on it later, and kind of derive the meaning from that. But again, playing it loose, holding it lightly, not going in, gripped on so tight to this is exactly how it has to show up. Because of course, if you're old enough and you're aware enough, you're like, oh, that's when things don't, they don't work out that way. And, you wind up disappointed because of it. So very much like, all right, relax. We're gonna enjoy the ride and have the experience. Okay, so notes here. This is part of an emotionally projected channel. So projector rules apply, seen, recognized, invited. And being emotional, it's about writing this out, these fantasies, these dreams and things over time. Having patience to get clarity on what's meant to come forth from the field. And the abstract wave is based on desire. So this is part of part of the collective one that is like the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. And it really gets hung up on unmet expectations. That's why management of expectations is so important with gates and channels in this particular segment of the chart. Side note, my own sun gate is in this same stream. And so, yes, the management of expectations, big, big, big thing. Okay, so this wave in particular, because this is part of an emotional wave, this is collective desire. So it operates through desire and feeling. It moves from peaks to valleys and crashes when desire or expectation is not met. Okay. It's the hope to pain wave. Again, can't stress enough the management of expectations. It's the journey, not the destination. The fears of the emotional solar plexus, right? So this is pushing up toward the emotional center. And again, is part of an emotional wave. These fears are operating in various waves depending on the stream that they belong to. But when you're riding high, it may not be an issue, right? You're like, hey, rose colored glasses, everything's great. But when you dip low and crash, boom, they're back with a vengeance. And since this is part of an emotional wave, they can't be trusted in the present moment, unlike, say, the spleen or unlike the sacral. Emotional stuff, it's like you have to like ride this out. What's interesting is that over the long haul, they can very well be the things that you trust the most. But the long and the short of it is, like, there's no truth in the now for anything emotional. You just have to wait out the wait. So again, I'm gonna stress the management of expectations. This is gonna come up again in the near future, but these gates, 41, 30, 36, that's my sun gate, and 35. With this abstract sensing stream, do not expect to be satisfied for long. That's another little fun thing about it. Once the experience is experienced, it's done and we're on to the next thing. So this is also a mundane love gate, right? So we talked about transcendent love, and then we have mundane love that's experienced through typically other people, other things. This is a love of dreams, dreaming of love, the fantasy, Hollywood, Disney, the desire to experience love through the other, wanting to feel it again and experience it. To literally everything in that stream that I just listed, those gates, those channels, it's like they want to have the experience of something. Okay, the programming partner here. So if the sun is in Aquarius, gate 41, Earth is automatically opposite in gate 31. And 31 is known as influence. It's the gate of influence. The keynote with this is I lead or not. It's the influential elected leader. And the voice is I lead. This gate is about being extremely influential, but without trying. Definitely not a person who sets out to be an influencer. Yeah, it's about leadership, but the whole thing about it is like, are you using it for good or for bad? So somebody who wants to push a personal agenda, versus what's best for the whole. It's collective circuitry again. People that are in love with the sound of their own voice, talking for the sake of it. But really, 31 is the voice of influence. It's the figurehead, the mouthpiece. Very important that this person is elected by the majority to lead the collective into the future, based on the will, based on what the people want. Um, Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere. This is a projected gate, and someone with this energy needs to be elected or chosen to step into the position of guiding and directing others. Again, it's got a projected aspect. So sharing your vision for the future, you're making yourself seen and available for what you see. And it's up to the masses to latch onto and actually do something with the guidance that a 31 person has given them. You can't do it for them. You can't force them to follow you. It's really an energy that's meant to be of service to the collective. And then the gate that completes the channel is Aquarius gate 30, forming the channel of recognition. And 30 is known as the clinging fire. It's the gate of feelings. Freedom recognized as an illusion and limitation accepted as fate. This is a solar plexus gate. So, what do we know about the awareness centers? They contain fears and anxieties. And this one is a fear of the fates. This produces a very powerful wave fueled by desire to feel deeply. It's the nervousness about what may or may not happen. I always call this the gate of the deep feels. It contains the potential awareness to recognize a feeling. It's an evolutionary, burning emotional desire driving you to experience life. The low expression of 30 is always hungry for a new experience. It can be about having great expectations, there we go again, when it comes to the new and emotional experiences that it desires and the potential to then be deeply disappointed, deeply, when they don't play out as expected, expecting the next high to fulfill you or quench that thirst, but it never does. This desire or hunger is insatiable. It's an infinite loop. So living your life trying to get there, wherever there is, there doesn't exist in the abstract circuitry, right? This circuitry is about the journey, not the destination. Remember? This energy wants to dive into life and experience the deep end, not just skim the surface, but unfortunately, it doesn't always know the right time to take the plunge. Going back to the timing of an emotional wave, right? Sometimes it can present as holding yourself back from feeling deeply, not allowing yourself to have or to pursue desires and dreams. I have my Mercury in gate 30. I really relate to that, like having dreams and then having things crushed. Um, Getting injured and not being able to dance anymore when I was young and just kind of being like, "Oh, okay, I can't have dreams anymore." You know? Like, ooh, that's a whole thing. We might get into that on the Gate 30 episode, we'll see. But then basically it's like you're holding yourself back from that, and I certainly did, not allowing yourself to experience life fully, just pulling back. Nope, can't go there. Suppressing the passion for or because of the fear of disappointment. So like I said, regarding the fear of the fates, this is an anxiety about external, uncontrollable forces or circumstances getting in the way of what you want to experience, your dreams, your visions. But the high expression can show up as somebody who is pushing the collective evolution forward by experiencing life. It's able to easily connect with others on a very deep emotional level. It's not into small talk. These are not surface level people. They're just not afraid to go there. That energy is truly empathic and gives one the ability to put themselves in the shoes of another. When it surrenders all expectations and actually allows life to unfold, it can bring beautiful emotional depth to the experience of being human. It brings the emotional intensity needed to see a dream or an experience become real, and the maturity to sit with your desires and know, am I okay in just feeling this, or do I really need to experience it in real life? And of course, being detached from the outcome. As long as strategy and authority are used correctly, trusting, you can trust that life is showing or teaching you exactly what is correct for you to learn and share. There is a serious intensity to gate 30 that is prone to burnout, both of itself and of others. It's called the clinging fire after all, right? This is the passionate gasoline that's fueling, fantasy. It's intense, it goes deep, so on and so forth. But but also the clinging fire, you can think of that as like the eternal flame. It brings the passion, it just burns so strong. Again, like I said, it's my conscious Mercury in Aquarius, 6th house, like, it's like, "Oh, yeah, 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 this is me. This is the way I think." Um, yeah. Anyway, 41, the pressure of the root center connecting up to 30, the emotions of the solar plexus, so we've got 2 motors connecting here. When these 2 come together to form the channel of recognition, it's about feeling divine inspiration through creativity, feelings, passion. One side has the dream and the fantasy, and then the other side brings the passionate emotional fuel to the party. It's called a design of focused energy, aka feelings. When you hear people speaking about, say, manifesting, I always like Abraham Hicks. There's always like, it's not about what you want, it's about how you think you're going to feel when you get it. So, this is very much about getting into the feeling now. And also, you're never permanently going to be satisfied once you get the thing. That's another thing to realize, right? We naturally want more. We want new experiences. It's just human nature. So try to relax and enjoy the journey, knowing you're never going to be satisfied, right? So you might as well just always look at life as a journey. Feel the feelings, dream the dreams, live the experience versus being caught up in getting the thing that never truly fulfills you or fills you up. You are meant to feel and experience life in order to learn and keynote share. Um, one more time, emotional wave and the management of expectations with this one. This is the big drop. Okay. After all the excitement of the fantasy comes, it's like the clinging fire piece of this wave. It's like what sticks around. I always say what won't leave you alone, you know? To me, like that's my work for myself. It's like that's what won't leave me alone. There's days where I'm like, could it be something else? No, it's this. It's this. It won't leave me alone. So you might have the fantasies and the dreams, but it's like what and this is the point of the wave. It's like when you wait it out and you get clarity. I know I mentioned in a recent episode, looking back at like my journal from 2020 for something astrological. I was just like, I need to check this date for something. And the stuff that I'm writing about 4 years ago is the stuff that I'm writing about today. It won't leave me alone. Like I am not all over the place. My stuff is like very consistent. So to me, I'm like, well, that's a really beautiful thing. I'm not vacillating all over. It's like I know what I want. So I need to be patient with the journey and see what I experience over and right rather than thinking there's a destination I'm trying to get to. Hope that makes sense. Astrologically, this would be an Aquarius conjunction, loose, but they're two Aquarius gates that come together to make this channel. So it's like super powered Aquarian energy to dream up the future and the gasoline to throw on the fire and make it happen to see it through. And this is happening in the fourth quarter of the wheel, purpose filled through transformation. So dreams turning into reality. So again, that gives me the Willy Wonka, the Alice in Wonderland, the psychedelic vibes I just love. And it totally brings to mind to me because, ever since I was a kid, Willy Wonka was a favorite of mine, but it's pure imagination, the song. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do, do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. All right. Do you have gate 41? Check your root center. So all the way down at the bottom right-hand side, it is aiming on it's the outer ring. So the very, very bottom of the right-hand side up to the solar plexus. If 41 is colored in black, red, or red and black, you have it defined in your chart. If it's white, just like mine, I don't have 41, but I do have 30 on the other side. So check, see, maybe you're going to get the full channel for approximately 6 days. And then of course you're going to experience it through the transits, or you're going to experience it through other people. Look at the people who look at their charts. Again, you get free charts on my site, michaelamclean.com. Knock yourself out and just explore and like, oh wow, yeah, I totally see this in this person. Especially like I said, the whole stuff about the management of expectation. I see this person building things up in their mind and then having the dreams dashed. That's valuable to know about yourself or about other people, like really, really valuable. Um, of course, check out my account on Instagram if you don't follow me already at Michaela McLean, because over there I post every week, every time the sun transits into a new gate, the more tangible, uses for this. So things to kind of contemplate, essential oils, crystals, frequencies, all of the things to work with. And like I said, in a more tangible way. I always think with a lot of this, it's like when we're out of alignment, um, it's obscuring or obstructing our inner beauty. When we don't feel beautiful, we can't look beautiful. So when we start to address these things on an inner level, it just really helps us overall, right? That's my whole gig. I'm the auric esthetician. So we're looking at the beauty of your aura. We got to get the inside right so that we are emanating the right energy. Okay. Anyway, I will be back soon with more, of course. As I mentioned at the beginning, if this episode is of value to you, I would love it if you would leave it a 5-star rating and review. And of course, right now, send me a screenshot at Energetic Aesthetics. That's aesthetics with an A. at iCloud.com. I'll link it in the show notes, but you send me a screenshot of your 5-star rating and review, and I will get you a PDF download of the gate guide and the keyword guide for the podcast. So you will have very easy time navigating, looking for gates and things, especially once you have your free chart from my website. And then you can look up all of your gates and listen to all the details and just binge. All right. Of course, you want to learn more human design, check out the free guide, the $11 master classes, the yoga nidras, all the good stuff. Until next time, have a beautiful day.